Welcome members then to this licensing committee meeting being held on Wednesday, the 2nd of March 2022. This meeting is being webcast with the exception of any business that the council resolves to exclude the press and public because of the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in the Local Government Act 1972. So thank you for that. We've tested the translation, so we're tickety-boo with that. Could I now ask for apologies, please, from members?
Could I give Councillor Peter Prendergast apologies? Unfortunately, he has a hospital appointment, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Butterfield. No other apologies, then we'll move to
Chair. Yeah, we've got Councillors Melvin Mile and Hugh Irving. Apologies.
Thank you. Those have been recorded then. We'll now move to declarations of interest, and I'll ask Denbighshire Officer Tim Dillon to run through that.
Good morning, members. In relation to declaration of interest, members will be aware of the requirement under the Council's Code of Conduct to declare any personal or prejudicial interest in respect of any business to be considered at today's meeting. Such interest should be declared now or as soon as the councillor affected becomes aware that they have a personal or prejudicial interest in today's business. All members declaring an interest are required to state clearly what the interest is and to advise whether it is a personal interest or a personal and prejudicial interest as defined in the Code of Conduct. Any member declaring an interest, a prejudicial interest, is required to leave the meeting for the duration of the business and can take no part in the proceedings. Members with a personal interest only may take part in the debate and any vote. If a personal or prejudicial interest is declared today that has not previously been disclosed and recorded, the councillor concerned will be required to complete and sign a declaration of interest form, which is available from the committee support staff here today. Diolch. Thank you.
Thank you. So is there any declarations of interest from members? Take that as a no.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry,
yeah. Sorry, Councillor Hugh Williams.
Yeah, the taxi driver in front of us, is it Justin Harvey? His company picked my son up from school a few years ago, so it's not a personal interest, it's just, I just wanted to declare it.
Okay, thank you. Then, so we'll move on to the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 15th of September 2021. For clarity, they are on pages 9, 10, 11 and 12. So are there any matters? Well, have we got a proposer for those minutes, please?
True and accurate record.
I'll propose them, Ryan.
Thank you. So we've got Peter Scott and Councillor Mervyn Parry as a true record. Is there any matters arising from the minutes?
Esgusodwch chi, Cadeirydd, ar y mymhethau I fan hyn, cofnodion y cyfarfod diwetha ar yr 8th o Rhagfyr. Am I correct? It was on the 8th of December.
Yeah, bear with me. All I can say is I'm reading the 15th of September. I don't know if any of the officers can help us out with that one.
That were the minutes from the previous meeting, Chair. The minutes we're reading are from the 8th of December. We read the minutes from the 15th of December prior to that and said they were correct.
So the minutes are in it. Sorry, the minutes. Yeah, the 8th of December.
Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out, Councillor Aura Roberts. You are correct, and I am incorrect, so we're not a problem in admitting that. So we've got that recorded here now, so we're happy with that, I believe, here in the chamber. So we're now asking then that those minutes of the 8th of December, sorry, a true and proper record. That's what I'm asking for. So will councillors?
Yeah, still propose that, Chair.
And I'll second.
Oh, thank you, Councillor Alan Roberts. So is there any matters other matters arising from that then, members? Councillor Butterfield, your hand's raised.
I won't be able to vote to confirm the minutes because I wasn't at that meeting, Chair, on the 8th of December. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So there's no dissenting voices that we can hear. So we'll take that as passed as a true record. Thank you. So next item is item 5, and this is a review of the current tariff charges for HACNI carriage vehicles. I'd like to call on Denbighshire Officer Ian Millington to run through this summary and report. Councillor Millington, I'm sorry, Officer Millington.
Thanks, Chair. I seem to be promoted from that, but there we go. Apologies, members, for not being there in person today. I'm halfway through my COVID isolation with the cross on the door to prevent people coming in from there. So apologies for that. So purpose of this report is to review the current tariff charges for the HACNI carriage vehicles, commonly known as taxis. Following a request by a number of licensed drivers to review the current charges, officers have drafted proposals for further consideration, and our power to do so is in the Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act. Under that Act, the council is allowed to fix the rates of fares within the county in connection with the hire of a vehicle. And 2 options were put forward to us by licensed drivers. Proposal 1 being a £3.50 start and a £2.50 per mile, and a tariff 2 to start at 11 PM until 7 AM. Proposal 2, roughly the same, but to include a surcharge for passengers of more than 4 passengers, and a tariff, Sundays to be permanently tariff 2 all day. And a further supplement in proposal 2 was to ask that tariff 2 start at 6 PM on a Friday and Saturday, so as to encourage sufficient drivers to meet customer demand at that time. The current tariff charge is attached in Appendix A, and those were last done in 2018, 4 years ago, to be precise. The charges for distance are used to compile a league table of taxi fares throughout the UK, produced by a known publication, Private Hire and Taxi Monthly. Based on those current charges, Denbighshire listed at 259 and a total of 359 across the UK, 12 out of 22 in Wales and 5 out of 6 in North Wales. That was at the time of writing in December 21. Members may wish to note that this proposal will take Denbighshire to the 5th highest in Wales and joint 2nd with Gwynedd in North Wales. And I believe since writing, Conway have reviewed theirs, and it would take us in line with Conway also. Comparisons are based on a 2-mile journey on a normal tariff and does not take into account any of the extras additions. And just to note that position 1 is the dearest. The proposals, as laid out, amount to a 7% increase in charges for the 2-mile journey. Should members resolve to support the proposals and move to consultation, officers propose to consult publicly whilst directly informing licensed drivers of the proposals. Any objections at that stage will be brought back to the licensing committee for a consideration of a final tariff. If there are no objections, the authority must publish a public notice in one local newspaper circulated in the county, which should detail the new tariff and specify a period not less than 14 days, which objections can be made in writing to the authority. Members should note that for this action, a lead member delegated decision is required to ensure the council meets its constitutional obligations. No objections are received at that stage. The amended scale of fares and charges will become effect after the expiration of the public notice, i.e. the 15th day. Again, any objections at that stage will be brought back to the licensing committee for a final tariff. Members should note that although the council set the table of charges, a hackney carriage proprietor can charge a customer a lesser fee. The set charge is the maximum permitted. Members obviously may put forward a different preferred tariff or reject the representations to amend the tariff. So the recommendation is that the members authorise officers to proceed with the consultation on either proposal 2, paragraph 4.2 above, together with a supplement of 4.3, that is the Friday and Saturday night tariff 2 charge, or consult on a preferred version of a tariff agreed by members. They should also instruct officers to prepare a report for the next licensing committee if any objections are received, and instruct officers to publish the requisite public notice if no objections to the consultation are received, and implement the tariff after the statutory time frame if no further objections are submitted thereafter. And instruct officers to prepare a report for the next licensing committee if any objections are received following the statutory notice. Hopefully that's clear, but I'm happily take any questions if need be.
Thank you, Officer Millington, for running through that. That was all pretty clear from this end. First hand I can see is Councillor Arwel Roberts.
Diolch Cadeirydd. Does gen i byd yn erbyn hyn, ond ydy hyn yn mynd i effeithio ar drigolion sydd yn dibynnu ar dacsis i fynd o le i le a ddim yn gyrru ceir. Ac os ydy wedi dod gan yr gyrwyr trwyddedig, wel mae rhaid i ni rhyw fath o gefnogi nhw. Ond dwi yn teimlo dros trigolion sydd yn gwynebu cyfnod anodd iawn yn ariannol hefo hyn. Felly dwi'n gwybod beth i feddwl ddigwyr. Dwi'n deall pam maen nhw'n neud o, mae pawb eisiau byw, a pa fantais ydy hyn i ni fel cynghorwyr fel yn Sir Ddinbych, pa fantais ydy o i Sir Ddinbych? Ysgolwch yn dda.
Can I ask Ian Millington to respond to that, please?
Thank you. You're right. It will affect residents, and it'll affect anybody that wants to use a taxi, licensed taxi. But we have to remember that if taxis are not cost effective for the operator, then they will not. There won't be a taxi. They won't be in the business to run. So therefore, then it does drive out some operators from actually working, which reduces the competition. We have to remember that the table of charges will be the maximum that a taxi driver can charge. There can be some agreements, to charge a lesser fee if so desired. But I think it's more of a case of enabling a business to operate cost effectively. If they can't afford the fuel that's going in there, as a simple example, then they just won't run. That reduces the taxi fleet available, which may well drive up competition, but it may well push it outside. I think a lot of it will go to public consultation as well, so that there's public opinion to come into it. But equally as well, I think some drivers will not want an increase because they will see pretty much like the point raised that residents won't want it. So it'll be interesting to see what comes back of it in the future.
Well, thank you, Ian. Are you happy with that response, Councillor Roberts? Good. Move to Councillor Mellor, please.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I think it's quite sensible looking at this. You've only got to see now it's £1.50 for a gallon of diesel, a litre of diesel, not gallon. But you'll find now at the moment that taxi drivers are not turning out as much as what they should do. Try and phone a taxi half the time, you've got quite a considerable wait. And that's in the quieter times, they won't do it because of the what they're getting back for the tariff. So I think, you know, it is hard for us all, the prices are going up, but I really think, you know, we've got to look right across the board here, and I think it's a sensible thing to do. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Councillor Mellor. Councillor Butterfield next.
Thank you, Chair. I think bottom line here is that our decision today has to go out to consultation, which I think is sensible after we make a decision here today, which tariff we might want to put forward. I want to speak on the amendment, and I do think the amendment is a reasonable request to keep the numbers up of the taxi drivers, to keep up with demand, because if we don't, we do see disharmony and disruption within the town centre when there are problems with taxis, and we would encourage the drivers to come in and meet the demands at the weekend. So I do think the amendment to the proposal is a reasonable request, and I'm speaking also as a taxi user. I use taxis, so Hardwell, I do take on board the point that you've made in that it will be a burden on the taxi users, and that would be particularly through the day. But as Ian has said, it's down to the taxi companies how they deal with that. But I am in favour and will support this, Chair, to go out to consultation and on tariff 2 with the amendments. Thank you, Chair.
And thank you, Councillor Butterfield. Next up is Councillor Mervyn Parry.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Again, I think we're going to have to support this, really. I mean, it puts a top line on it, not a bottom line on it, as I understand. They can go less if they want to, but can go more. Just correct me if I'm right on that one. You know, we've got things like costs of, we're going to be looking at making sure that these operators make sure that the vehicles are kept safe, there's maintenance on them, things like tyres and fuel, everything's going up. So we need to put that we've obviously got to make sure we've got a standard of a product that's or a service that's been offered by the county. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is a top line, not a bottom line. Somebody could go cheaper if they wanted to.
Chair, if I may immediately step in on that point, if
Certainly.
yeah, you're absolutely correct there. That it is the maximum that they could charge. They can come to some agreement and a lesser charge if they so desire, but they can't go above that charge that's there. You know, so it's one measure really to try and you know, assist in those costs that are ever aspiring. I think, you know, in the future, I think we had a conversation, didn't we, about the age limit, and that might be something that we might need to look at later in the year, which was agreed at the for the next the next committee, I think, to further assist if we can, because I think there was some concerns in that area. So, but for now, this is just looking at the tariff to try and get the you know, some assistance across that board that's there.
Thank you. Councillor Hugh or Williams, please.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm supportive of this, but I've just spent the weekend in London in the back of many electric taxi. It's definitely the way forward. You know, the cleaner energy, clean environment. Happy to support this now because we're not quite there with electric up in North Wales. I know we've had some trials with taxis in Denbighshire, but yeah, I am supportive of this, but we really need to be pushing these electric taxis in these towns. It's something what we've got to do. You know, it fits our corporate stance in Denbighshire, and yeah, happy to support this now, but we really need to push this electric vehicles. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And as a little back comment to that, the EV charging, the use of taxis. I believe in the next council term, you will see that roll out even further, because financial support will come from higher up beyond the boundaries of Denbighshire. There's no more hands up on this item that I can see, so we could move to the recommendation, which is at 6.1. Would you like me to read the whole recommendation out for clarity?
Yeah.
Or I'll pass to Tim Dillon. He'll read the recommendation out just for clarity. Well done, Tim.
Okay, thank you, Chair. To assist you, so members, yeah, on page 15 of the papers, 6.1 are the recommendations from Ian Millington. 6.1. So members, I think the easiest way to deal with this is to deal with all four at the same time. So if we could have a proposal. Well, sorry, first of all, is everybody, members, content with proposal 2? The first bullet point. If you look at the first bullet point, so authorise officers, that members authorise officers to proceed with consultation on either proposal 2 at paragraph 4.2 together with the supplement at paragraph 4.3. So I suppose that needs to be clarified. If we could have a proposal, please, for that.
We've got Councillor Hugh Williams, and there was a raft of other. Councillor Aaron Roberts is seconding, I think, at the moment. Thank you for the other members that put your hands up.
So in relation to bullet points, recommendation 1, unless there are any dissenting voices, that recommendation is passed. Then in relation to the final 3 bullet points, I think it will be better to pull them together. So can we have a proposal to go with the officer recommendation in relation to the second, third and fourth bullet points, please?
Councillor Hugh Williams again has proposed. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Barry Mellor. Thank you.
Thank you. They're all passed. So bullet points are passed. Thank you.
Thank you, members. We'll now move to item 6, which is the forward work programme, and I'll ask the officer Nikki to run us through the forward work programme. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is
I can't hear anybody, sorry.
Yeah, just a slight technical issue. We'll be back.
Sorry, Chair. Is that better?
No, we have an echo somewhere, Nikki.
We have.
Yeah.
Is that better?
That's better, yeah.
Thank you. Right. The purpose of this report is to advise members of the priorities of the licensing section, together with an update of the agreed work programme for the licensing committee for this year. Members may recall that at the last meeting in December 2021, officers presented an updated work programme which was approved. Officers were scheduled to present a number of updated matters for your consideration to this meeting. However, due to a number of factors, such matters will be presented to you at a future meeting. A revised forward work programme can be found at Appendix A. Officers have taken this opportunity to provide members with an update on matters that should have been brought to this meeting. 3.21 details the review of the HACNI carriage and private hire statement of licensing policy. We have undertaken an interim consultation with members of the taxi trade, just a small consultation, just to gauge the opinions of those working within the trade. However, work is ongoing with the finalising of the policy document, which will go to the trade and the wider public as agreed by members at the meeting in June last year. The review of the Statement of Principles for the Gambling Act, that this is taking place collectively with the North Wales authorities, and once the review has been completed, we'll be in a position to produce the proposed review to members. The review of the street trading policy. At the last committee held in June last year, members approved a draft review of the street trading policy. They further agreed to support the establishment of a subgroup made up of representatives of each of the member area group, the purpose of which is to work with officers to further develop a policy prior to submitting a final version. Since the last update, the subgroup has met twice and has been agreed that there is still major issues such as markets and prohibited streets that require further consideration. It was proposed that members discuss these matters with their respective groups prior to our next meeting. The Licensing Act Statement of Licensing Policy. At the meeting in September, members authorised officers to consult on a revised statement of policy. Since that meeting, members have been working on ensuring the revised version of the policy meets the accessibility requirements prior to publishing the consultation. The document is now ready for officers, and officers are working with the Council's Public Engagement Officer. Following consultation, a report will be placed before full Council to consider adopting the revised policy. The review of the fees and charges. Certain fees within the remit of the licensing section are set within legislation. For example, alcohol and gambling licenses. Where fees can be locally set by individual authorities, these are regularly reviewed to ensure they meet cost recovery of the processes involved. Officers have been working on implementing electronic means of applying for licenses, which will significantly change the current process. Officers are proposing to defer any review of current fees until such time as new processes are ready to be implemented. This will not affect the ongoing consideration of the tariff charges. Therefore, it's recommended that members note the contents of the report, and it is further recommended that members consider and approve the revised forward work programme detailed in Appendix A for the year 2022. Thank you, Chair.
And thank you. I can't see any hands from members. Is there any questions, points, or any other comments any members would like to make? No? Okay, thank you. So we can move then to the recommendation, which is at 4.1, which is it is recommended that members note the contents of the report, and it is further recommended that members consider and approve the revised forward work programme detailed at Appendix A for the year 2022. Have we got a proposer?
I'll propose that, Brian.
Thank you, Councillor Parry. Seconded, Councillor Butterfield. If I can ask, is anyone not in agreement with that proposal and seconder? No. So thank you for that, members. So that will be quite a lot of work for the new licensing committee in the next council term. Thank you. We can now move to part 2. If I could ask someone to move that, please. Councillor Mervyn Parry, Councillor Owen Roberts, and I will ask for the webcast to be paused.